Hey everyone, my name is Arno, and today we're taking a look at the Garden of Terror map in Heroes of the Storm, alright? Heroes of the Storm recently just launched, and I've heard a lot of players saying that they're confused by the objectives, and they don't really understand how they synergize. So that's one of the things that make the games so interesting. It's so much different than any other MOBA. And this map is a good example of this. This is a very strange idea, but it works pretty well. And as you can see, this is your traditional 3-lane map, but it's very, very long, alright? The time from both nexuses or nexi or whatever, where you both start is a very, very wide margin, all right? So, and this is for a very important reason, because the objective on this map is all about, once again, siege, all right? So let's talk a little bit about how this works. So, a little bit into the game, let's see if we can get an exact number here. Yeah, so for the Garden of Terror, 90 seconds in, the first night is going to happen, all right? Once night begins, all the map changes, it becomes dark. You'll be able to tell immediately. And there's going to be like packs of these things that drop seeds, all right? Right in the middle of this circular area here that I'm looking at, all right? There's going to be a pack there. There's going to be a pack up here, okay? And then there's going to be a boss in the middle, all right? And it's going to be a mirror up top. It's going to be the same way, all right? So basically you want to send 2 top, 2 bottom, and 1 mid, just like normal. And then as soon as the night happens, you want your top and your bottom to react to their sides, and you want the mid to choose a side as well. This is pretty important. It's kind of overlooked. The three lane is pretty important. Like, you could either choose to figure out where say you see your fellow mid lane, he goes bottom, then you can go top, and you can kind of just win your top. You get more seeds top, and let the bottom just kind of poke around and hash it out, and you just trade back and forth. Also, a lot of people just go 5 bottom or something like that. It's probably not a bad idea to just abandon the lanes at this point, because if they're fighting the boss, this is a great time to engage. Or conversely, you can try to you can try to force a fight at the boss and then engage on them. This is a pretty difficult map to explain because the seeds are so weird. Like, the mechanic is awesome once you get it, but getting them is very, very strange. Like, it doesn't ever feel satisfying to just get the small camps. You always want to try to get the boss, but the boss does a lot of damage and has a lot of health. So you're going to be fighting him for a while. So you better make sure that you want to fight. In fact, I would say that a lot of people just ignore the bosses, quote unquote, and they kind of wait for the other team to make a mistake. This works pretty well, especially if your team is a bit more intelligent. Like if you're aware of this as a team, this could work pretty well. But I'm not really sure how it goes down in competitive play. I really don't feel like this map is very competitive because the way it drags you away from experience. Doing the objective is great and all, but there's so much that happens outside of lanes that I just don't really feel like it's as fun. But that's kind of where it's countered, because once you get the objective, all right, so here's the plant terror here. Fertile soil is where he's going to grow. And once you have him, somebody has to get in him. It's similar to the Dragon Knight, but, it's a bit different. He's going to have a few abilities. Basically, he does a good amount of auto attack damage to any structure, once again. He shouldn't be used as a team fight agent because of this reason, but just like the Dragon Knight, if you're really, really struggling, you can use him to get some damage. And his other abilities, one is an ability that if they stand in it, it's a circular ability. He throws it down, a skill shot, and after a second, it blooms like this plant thing, and it turns anybody who's on the other team in it into a plant. So once again, this is similar to the Dragon Knight. It removes people from the fight. They are a plant. They can still move. They still have their facilities, but they can't use any of their abilities. They're basically polymorphed, like Brightwing's polymorph, all right? So, oh, look at that. It's actually got a night thing. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? So yeah, there's the minion. Sorry, I didn't even realize that. That's pretty embarrassing, but yeah. And then once you get the boss, right, once you can use the Garden Terror, these mercenaries go away. So we'll talk about that as well. But the other ability the Garden Terror has is, this is the most impactful one, right? You throw this plant, it's like a potted plant down, and it spreads vines out to every structure around you. So, and it does a lot of damage. I would say it can do like 30% of the keep's health, just one. But it can be killed. So if you throw it down in the middle of a team fight, it's very likely that the team will just peel and kill it quickly. This is a pretty important mechanic. You could actually use that to your advantage. You can throw it down. So for example, say we're up here, we're sieging this fort here, and we're fighting on the fort. You can sneak up behind them, throw it like over this gate, right? So you're fighting this right fort here. You could throw it over this left fort's gate, and then they'll be forced to retreat to kill it or take a lot of damage. You want to actually be progressing your own fort's damage. Like, you're meant to siege this fort, You're not doing damage to it because it won't reach it, but it will force them to stop fighting you, giving you net uptime on the siege and this tower here as well. That's pretty important. And then also, like I said, you can really... Oh, and his third ability is a sprint, all right? I should have explained that. It's pretty important. The sprint is really why this map is so large, because this thing can pretty much win the game by itself. Unlike the Dragon Knight, it lasts much longer and has a much higher impact on the actual siege. You can literally just take down whole towns by yourself, and it's pretty important to do so, and that's why the sprint is that important. But once you have it, everybody knows where you are on the map, so despite the map being that big, it's pretty obvious where you're going. And I would definitely recommend using your your CC on them and your sprint accordingly. So for example, you're sieging bottom lane, you throw the plant down, you throw it down here, and then they all come from this area here, like the middle area here. They're all going to pass through the same area. So you can throw the seed down, bait them into it, get them all CC'd, polymorphed, and then just sprint through them. This works very well, especially when they're all grouped up. It's very easy. Once you get good with it, it's very easy to bait them into it. And if you're good with that, you're an exceptional player on this map, because that's what this map is all about. In fact, I really don't like this map because anybody can take this objective, and unlike the Dragon Schreier, it's not, you simply can't just go attack forts. You have to actually use the mechanics properly. Now, like I said before, the mercenaries disappear when it's about time to get the beast, right? Whatever, the plant terror. Once you get it, they disappear. But they won't disappear if you're fighting them as you get it. So very common to have, say, 2 people go and get these siege golems when the person's just about to get the terror. Also, another thing people like to do on this map is to not take the terror when not everybody's alive. It lasts for I think it's like 60 seconds or 70 seconds. It's a pretty good amount of time, but it will expire if you don't do it properly. And that's happened a few times to me. People just don't go and get it, and you kind of forget about it, you noob out, and you just let it go, and it just disappears, and it's pretty embarrassing. But you could all, if 3 of your guys are dead and they're set to res in 20 seconds, then you should probably just wait, because it's going to last the same amount of time from where you take it. It doesn't matter when you pick it up. It's always going to last the set duration. So yeah, if you want to delay that 20 seconds, that's a good idea. But I would definitely only pick it up to siege. A lot of people will, you'll see like younger players, newer players, they'll take it and they'll just start roaming around hitting people. You don't want to do that. You could team fight with it if needed. Like I said in the Dragonshire one, if you're really struggling to win team fights, you can do a good amount of damage with it. And you could also CC them. It's just as good as like ETC's ult. It basically CC's all 5 people if they're all right on top of each other. So this can work out pretty well. Like you could ETC ult and then use it on top of all 5 of them as the stun is about to break. And they're dead. You won. That's an ace right there. You know what I mean? So yeah, this map's pretty complicated. I would definitely say this is probably the highest learning curve of any of the maps, just because of how the mechanic works. It's very difficult to do well, but once you're good at it, you're good at it. So yeah, good luck with your teams on this map as well. If the teams don't react to the boss and they're not playing well with it, it's going to be a very difficult win. But that's it. If you guys have any questions about the Garden of Terror, let me know. If not, we'll see you guys in the next map.